Board of Water Wastewater Commission is meeting to order for Tuesday, December 3rd at 9 a.m. on Chatham Road. We have a full board here, so we have a quorum. We have no executive session. We do have a section for public comments, if you like, but you'll be on later, probably more appropriate to speak when your issue comes up. So with that said, I would take a motion regarding the minutes from October 1st, 2024.
Madam Chairman, I move we adopt the minutes of October 1st, 2024 as presented.
Also good.
Okay. First and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, so the next item up is an abatement request for the property at 783 Route 30. It says Route, oh, wait a minute, Route 28. Aren't you on Route 39?
No, they're done by the...
Weekends of 20.
Was the move last
Sorry, I
night?
can't hear you. Where are you?
Right across from the Witchmere tennis courts,
Oh.
next to the
Next
barbecue.
to
To the barbecue restaurant.
But, so what's, okay. So what's the building that's like by where it used to be Alouette or whatever?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
That's it.
That's Route 28?
That's 28.
Yeah.
How many years you been
Past Harwich Port, but Route 28 goes all the way to Chatham now.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Does.
yeah.
Well, Alan offered to give me a ride to West Harwich sometime, so we'll see. We'll see in the spring. Sorry, ladies, I just obviously had a little,
You don't wander too far.
bone cramp, you know.
Get into West Howard.
They keep me up in the woods in North Harwich, and that's
Someday
what it is.
she's gonna go to West Harwich.
I took her.
Yeah,
Oh, God bless you.
it's not easy, you know, being on this board. So, levity aside, we read your request, and it just, you know, I understand that, and then I'll let the board speak, but, you know, I understand you had some kind of a problem with the toilet, and that was replaced.
Really wasn't replaced because there was a problem.
Right, okay.
We were just doing some
Yeah.
upgrades in the building.
I see, I
And so
see.
we had created a plan to ensure that we had, like, all of our equipment is operating efficiently.
Right,
And so we received a grant actually to upgrade.
I see. Okay.
In the building, and so we replaced the toilet.
right. I guess that just stands out because, you know, obviously something happened last summer sometime between the June read and the September read. And looking at the information right now, yeah, I feel that I need some more information, you know what I mean? And of course, the board will have their opinion, but what bothered me, well, certainly the amount bothered me, but where it went to the read of 775 from 270, that was the big jump from 505. But whatever happened then it looks like they took the read, trying to find it, on October 9th, and that was 794. So that was just 2 weeks later, or even less than that, than the 927 read, and already you had used 20,000 gallons, which you never used before. So what concerns me is I feel there's still a problem there. I know the meter's been tested, there's technical things going on, I don't understand, but if that 20,000 kept up, then by the end of your next read, you'd be using, 120, for this quarter, which you never did before. You always only used 4, 5, 6, 2, very low. So So I feel that we may need some more information on this before we proceed. You know, I don't want to do a quick judgment without, if there's still a problem going on, before we decide how to resolve that. So that's my opinion. I'd like to hear comments from the board.
I have a few questions, if you don't mind. You guys are a nonprofit, right?
Yes.
And where'd the grant come from, if you don't mind me
The
asking?
Yawkey Foundation,
Okay,
which is out of Boston. It's one of the only foundations in Massachusetts that actually provides grants for capital upgrades.
uh-huh,
And so one of the trustees, Judy Scarafile, of the Yawkey Foundation, lives here on the Cape, and so she put a recommendation in.
okay, great, congratulations. And so you guys lease this property?
No, we own it,
Oh, you do own it?
yes.
Because I was noticing down here, stuff with realtors coming in and out and want, the owner wanting the, is this a different thing? Down here where the, requesting the water meter, water be turned off and meter removed?
You know what happens? It's part of the program. Look at the dates. It
Okay,
always
okay,
prints
so that
those
goes back.
old dates
Okay,
first and
so this
then,
is not applicable?
that's right. And
Only to
okay,
And
thank
the
you.
first,
All right.
these readings also aren't applicable. You have to go to the page 2 to get the card.
Okay, well, based on that stuff, that takes a lot of my questions away. But yes, so is there still an irrigation system?
I'll let my colleague, this is Tishine Lester, she's
All right,
our
Tish.
Ops and Operations coordinator.
So we do not have an irrigation system, we have drip pipes because we don't have grass. We only have like plants around the.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the buildings, that's why I'm kind of curious why something couldn't have been noticed if it's bubbling up. It seems like it would be bubbling up somewhere.
Right.
So do you use the irrigation system?
We did in the summer, yes.
Okay. And it's far, like, on the sides of the building plants, or?
Yes.
We have a very small parcel.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has no grass at all. It just
Right.
has
It's just
some
planters,
hydrangeas. Yeah, and, so we've always had very minimal use. We
Right.
haven't added any significance in the number of staff that are working in the building. I mean, there's nothing that we can point to that would say, oh, that makes a lot of sense why our water usage would go up. And that's why when we got the bill after we calmed down, we saw the amount. Jane went right into action. Your staff has been wonderful. Somebody was
Yeah.
there within like an hour. And that's what we did, everything we would think to do, which was to test the meter and to make sure there were no leaks, and we couldn't find anything that would explain what was happening.
When you say you tested the meter, that was through us?
Yes.
Right, okay. I didn't know if there were 2 tests. But
Can I
yes.
ask a question? So do you have a company that services the irrigation system, even though it's just so you don't have a problem inside the building, other than you replaced a toilet?
Yes.
Which, would a toilet problem produce that much water loss?
I shouldn't have used the
If
word
it's
problem.
wide open, yeah, the flapper or the whatever mechanism they have, if it's wide open, it's just gonna, nobody's gonna notice it, it's just gonna go.
I wonder if the problem could be the new toilet. You never know.
The septic would be bubbling up though.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Right.
Well, there's not that many people in there, it's
Yeah.
just water, you know?
Yeah.
Irrigation off now?
Yes.
It is off? When was that shut off, do you know?
What a month now? Oh, over a month,
And they came and did it?
yes.
This does say that we have a new.
And they noticed nothing
There's a new
wrong?
meter in there
No,
now?
because what we did like in the beginning,
Oh,
before
we
we turned
show,
on,
yeah,
make sure that it
what-
was serviced, they went through and they test
Yeah.
like the
So
O's to
the-
make sure that those are replaced ones that they thought that need
Yeah.
replacement. So we did like a full work on that to make sure that that was working properly.
And you'd never have noticed like the toilet running?
No, the toilet wasn't changed because that toilet has been, it was there for like over 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So then if that was the issue, then we would have seen like other bills with large amounts like this one.
Oh,
You have access to your meter, right? You can see it? No?
It's under, I know where it is, it's under the crawl space,
It's under the what?
it's under the building.
Yeah, if you like to get dirty, you can get dirty.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know, I'm speaking for you, Jason, if our staff can assist, but, I mean, I always love to just turn everything off and see if the meter's spinning. I mean, there's no quicker, faster test in the world than, you know, if you don't have any washing going on, you tell people, don't run the sink for 2 seconds, and, you know, if that meter's, it should be not moving at all, you know.
Noreen, it says that they took out the meter to test it, and they replaced it with a new meter.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So we should be able to get a report off of that meter.
When
With
would
the
that
new
be?
meter.
Yeah,
So we should be able to run a consumption report, because we have 90 days
Well,
of memory on that meter. So we can see if there is anything leaking there.
That
Okay.
would be great.
It's the new meter.
The new meter, yes, there should be an e-coder.
Was it your staff that changed the meter?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, one thing that, the person who came did, cause I was working with him in the basement, was he shut everything off, and then he looked at the meter to see if it was moving, and it wasn't moving.
So
The
that
old
means,
meter.
that means there's a problem inside the building.
when the meter's not moving like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they shut it off, and it's not, you know what I mean, it's not moving. So
So we don't have anything, like, there's no toilets running, there's no.
could be an
leakage.
underground line, a broken underground line that they left, somebody left within the, you know, the house plumbing. So,
But wouldn't we see that, like, some indication of that somewhere?
you could, I've seen it, well, I'm a plumber, that's why.
Yeah.
But, I've seen lines just going into the ground, there was an old well, it just seeks its own level and it's gonna go into the ground.
So what's the process forward for trying to determine?
Like,
if there's-
like Jason said, I think that you're just gonna do another report.
You know, we'll have to run a report on the new meter.
On-
So the
yeah.
new meter has 90 days of data that's collected,
Yeah.
and then we'll be able to see
If it's still doing
what's
this.
going
Yeah.
on.
If they still have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but it won't hurt anything to be on your bill, we're not
Trust
gonna
me, we're trying to resolve the
shut,
issue.
yeah,
We'll,
shut your
you know,
water off.
Yeah.
or
We take
anything.
our responsibility very seriously to use the funds that we're entrusted
Right.
with to do
Sure.
the charitable work that we do, and so we run a pretty tight ship over
Yeah.
there, you know,
Yeah.
everything's, you know, clean, and, you know, we try to keep the building upgraded, we do own it, it's a debt-free on the building, so that's in thanks to our donors that allowed us to do that. So we try to keep the property in good order, the buildings in good order, and everything up to par and code. So we just want to resolve this,
Right.
one, and two, we want to contain the cost, because it
Of
really,
course,
you know, those
Yeah.
are funds that would go elsewhere to programs that really need them. And so
Right.
that's really why we.
There are some things that we can consider,
Sure.
but I don't feel comfortable considering those until we know the problem
Yeah,
is
we don't want to
resolved.
be back here
you
with the
know.
same size
Right.
bill,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
this quarter or next quarter.
Right.
And, you know, we have had an irrigation system there for years.
Mhm.
We didn't just put it in,
Right.
it's not a brand new one, it's not anything more than it was before. So that's why it was just like a shock. We thought, oh, there's gotta be something reading wrong here, because, like I said, we don't have any grass on the property at all. We don't
Right.
mow, we're not trying to, you know, it's all just, you know, it's just basically shrubs and trees, you know,
Yeah.
hydrangeas and.
yeah, just having you come in and talk to us changed my whole attitude about this whole thing.
Oh.
Believe me.
Who's your daughter? She-
Shannon,
Shannon, of
Yeah.
course, sorry. We
Yeah.
went to high school together.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew you
So,
were familiar.
I like your idea. Let's
Yeah.
let
take
it
a look.
run. And let's see what happens,
Sure.
and then we'll figure out from there.
So what is the timeline of that? Because I want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do in the fiscal year, obviously. You know, I just want to make sure that we're,
Normally, I would say, you know, at our next meeting, but given the holidays and some vacations, I think we would probably plan to meet with you again in January. Does that sound reasonable? To be able to get the right data and get people out there to check things, so.
Yeah,
I
we
think
we can
the
have you
challenge-
come back.
okay.
Yeah,
Is it a
that's-
challenge, though, if there is some fee that you have to pay
I just want to make sure that we're, you know,
with
we're
the
not.
calendar year? being a nonprofit?
I think it's okay, I can talk to the board and they'll understand, but I just wanted to make sure we're doing what,
Right.
is
Yeah.
expected of us, we don't wanna run any leaks.
You just give us the date that you shut your irrigation off.
Okay,
So that will determine if it's, we're gonna run a report, and it's gonna give us all the way back from 90 days, from when the meter was installed.
okay,
So we'll know, we'll see a spike, and then all of a sudden it comes down, and that was the day that it was turned off. You know
Then
that
we'll-
you have a problem, and you go, okay, so we don't want that to happen next year.
sure,
You know, and that'll help you out the following year
Absolutely.
also.
yeah,
And that'll help us to determine where it is,
great.
you know.
We wanna resolve this.
Right.
trust
We
me.
wanna work,
Yeah.
we wanna work with you.
Appreciate it.
We don't want that
So-
leak to
Yeah.
keep going. So.
Great,
So what I will do is, I'll just backtrack and find out the exact date when you're running off, and then I can, because I've been working with, someone for the past couple of months. and I-
Someone from
here.
Okay.
Who set up the old meeting and everything, I do not remember her name right now, but I will send her, email her that information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great.
and Tracy, who's right beside you, can coordinate anything as well.
I think I was emailing her here.
Yeah, I think you,
I'm Leslie.
yeah, well, yes.
Oh, okay.
Send it on over and we can both help you.
Thank you for being so nice.
and do you send someone out to read the meter
So
for
we'll-
90 days, or?
Yeah, we'll schedule
Okay.
someone to come out there and do a report on it,
Okay,
and then, they don't need to get into the meter. They can sit outside and do it.
okay,
Okay.
modern technology.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Sure,
Appreciate
thank
your
you
time,
for coming in.
consideration. Happy
Okay.
holidays.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and you.
We'll see you again.
Thanks. Yeah, you too.
Okay.
I just read down there that
What do-
when they took the meter out to test it, they put a new meter in.
Right.
So that'll give us, we'll be able to go out there and read that.
How long ago was the new meter put in?
It says October 24th, I
Oh.
believe, or
Yeah.
October 9th.
That was a good move
Yeah.
to change the meter.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Especially like that.
October 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I just don't understand why 20,000 in 2 weeks after the other read, so,
We'll be able to get about 2 months of data on it.
Yeah.
To see if it's consistent.
Yeah.
or, You know, continuous. If it is, they have a leak inside, we can help them out that way. So
Right.
maybe there's something going on inside, let's figure it out.
Yeah,
Great.
we don't do much use of it.
hello Sandy. Sandy
Hello,
Seeger
morning,
has joined
everyone.
us
Good.
for next item, which is our old business 2026 water budget. So we've got an updated list. I don't think we need to go down the whole columns again. I do have a couple of
Yes,
questions.
of course.
Um,
There's been a couple of changes.
Right, I
We
saw.
increased the police details, and to 35,000. So we decided that it was best to level fund it because we have a lot of projects that we'll be working on.
Right,
The other item is to principal and interest our debt.
right,
Okay, what we did do is we removed principal and interest payments for the Route 28 project until we get a revised schedule, because the project value is most likely going down.
Right.
And we need to coordinate the cash flow and when the town will need to borrow.
right.
So Jason and I are working on that. He's going to be in touch with GHD, or already has, we're waiting. I'm in touch with the treasurer's office, so we can coordinate a meeting when we have more details of if the project starts in the fall of 2025 and the winter is mild, it has the potential to finish in the spring of the same fiscal year. If, weather pending, if the weather isn't great, it could be completed in the next fall, so it would be a whole year. So we need to hone in when will, the borrowing will need to happen, when we will expect to make the payments, and right now that's unknown.
Yeah.
The schedules that we have are, there's one from June 2022.
Right.
There's also one from March of 2023.
I'd love to get a copy
Okay.
of that at some point.
So when we put that principal and interest in, based on the March 2023 debt schedules, we would need to raise rates more than
Right.
$10 on the base.
Okay, so we get there.
Yep, yep.
On the 2023 one,
Mm-hmm.
does that include the item that they had originally had for the 75,000 for the Pleasant Lake water tank? Because that was my,
It wasn't clear that that was
Question.
included if it
yeah,
was.
so that'll be something else we'll be
Yes.
figuring
One
out.
of the schedules is for like 14,185, say, and the other one is 15,175. So there's a difference of about $1 million there between the two debt schedules from March of 2023, say.
Right, okay.
We have a new treasurer, so I was in touch with our treasurer. I will be drafting an email today to our new treasurer and the interim,
Right.
acting treasurer.
And it reminds me that our new treasurer, I believe, is the one who coordinated the borrowing that was most recently done.
Yes.
Because our new,
Mr.
excuse me,
Spellman.
our new
Mhm.
finance director is our old treasurer, right? Ed Spellman, yeah, he was the treasurer when they did the last borrowing.
Yes, and he
Right.
still is, he's still in the role.
Yeah,
But Crystal Legendre has been promoted to treasurer, but Mr. Spellman hasn't
Right.
left yet. So
Right.
he's acting as,
I'm just saying that he has some knowledge from the most
absolutely, and he'll be in that
considering
loop.
they're coming and going every 6 months. At least that's a little helpful.
When I spoke with Crystal, she said, can you put this all in an email, which I'm
Right.
going to, and include Mr. Spellman in this email,
Yeah.
and we'll work to set up a meeting where
Mhm.
we can,
Could I get,
yeah, we were
Yeah.
thinking that you would be a good person.
Yeah.
Me, you, Jason.
right, but even the email when you do it,
Yes,
I'd
of
love
course.
to, it'll help
Okay.
me,
Yep.
help me think,
Yep.
thanks, yep. Okay, so that's the debt, so now I'm gonna go up to the top.
Yep.
So, on the budget for FY '25, oh, that's right, the indirects we did have in as 861? Or
Yes.
did we keep it the same as 818? No? I meant to look that up this morning.
818 was the FY '24 actuals.
Right,
So we budgeted we did have a new,
Right.
for when we put our budget together for FY 2025, we did have a list of indirects from the
Right.
finance department. So we carried that forward. So we stayed level to our current fiscal year. If you want to go back
well,
to,
okay, so I wish I had a warrant in front of me. The budget for water for FY '25, the budget that was in the warrant last May, did that have the 886 in it? I thought it had the 818 in it. I wish I had a warrant.
let me go to get my
Okay.
budget report. If you want to hold on a minute,
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Because for the board, this was when we were up there last, before you, Bob. We're getting up to the point where I don't have to say before you anymore. We're getting closer. But remember, we were up there last March, and we talked about indirects, and we wanted, the then finance director had changed the method. And it
Yes.
increased us by a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And we were very adamant that until we figured it out, we wanted to at least stay the same. We would compromise at that. And that's why I'm verifying this piece, so, because now we have all new people to go forward. And also, at that time, we realized as a board that we have to write up our own indirect policy. And we did get a proposal from that famous Mark Abrams, but it's just something we didn't have time for this year, because also you need figures from the finance thing, and they aren't in that kind of shape up
Yeah.
there, so
So FY '25, our current fiscal year, what's budgeted is 861, 237. And that was based on numbers from the finance director, say a year and a half ago when we were presenting the FY '25 budget. So when you mentioned carrying the same number forward, I carried the same
Right.
number forward, FY '25.
Okay, so this says 886 on this spread from last meeting.
Oh, okay, and so that has been, if you,
Yeah, I'm
right, this
looking.
is the updated budget. This was the last version. And I think that in the last version, I had increased it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
and we said go back.
Yeah, or, so,
I'm sorry. What does it say in on the warrant again? On the,
on our budget report.
Yeah.
So this is FY '25.
861.
Yep. I think that this was incorrect. This was a
Okay.
higher amount maybe that we had
right,
come up with, and then they, I can't remember, that was a
okay, that's all right.
while ago,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, all right, so these two are now these two,
Yes,
and that's
that's
what we're
correct.
sticking with.
Yes, yes. Unless something
Sorry about
comes
that, yeah.
from
okay.
finance to
Yeah.
change that,
Okay,
we just carried forward the
All right.
same amount.
so on the next page, on the middle of the page, if we could look at the big number, the water rate revenue of 4.5 million and change. My question is the, we've been kind of referring to the possibility of a $10 increase in the base rate for next year. Is the $10 already baked into that 4.5?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 4.5 presuming, which we haven't voted or looked
That's
at
correct.
yet,
That's
that we would
correct.
have, at least a $10
Yes.
raise and no tier rates.
That's right.
All right, okay, just so I understand it.
And
And,
are we gonna have a discussion around possible rate increase?
oh, we have a huge discussion.
Okay, good.
We have
Okay.
these charts that show you every truck we're buying, every this we're
And is there
buying.
public comment and public outreach?
Yes. We always
Like
do.
a mailer,
Great.
that there's something that,
A what?
your rates are gonna go up.
Oh, well, you're way ahead of me, I go
Yeah,
one step at
we
a time. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's advertised for 2 weeks,
Right.
and then there's a public hearing.
yeah.
But there could be some promotion or marketing to
Well,
let
we're
people
way
know when you
ahead
get,
of
if you
ourselves.
decide.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, we're still considering something that's baked in, so I just want
That's
to
right.
make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that there is adequate and, exceptional outreach.
Right,
For
right.
that.
I mean, I'll be happy if we can keep it to that baked in, quite honestly. But whatever, I'm gonna stay on today, so, okay, so the delta is the 824. And I wonder when we should start looking at those water rates, maybe even in February. I don't know, Sandy, what do you think? Starting to look at. We want to be able to change our numbers prior to town meeting.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom
Yep.
line.
So in January makes,
Well,
I think
Just for
that we just
transparency?
continue on, like each meeting, that we potentially keep it on the agenda, like rate increase, and, so
Right.
we can just continue to plan for more information,
Okay.
presentation, and then when you decide, if you decide, then we can schedule the public hearing.
yeah, I'm not concerned about the
Right.
public hearing yet. When will the big chart be ready? The chart,
Well, that was the chart that Dan does.
Right.
So we could hire Dan to do that.
I would
That's
like to
Dan
do
thing.
that.
Okay.
because it's so complicated, and it hasn't been updated in a few years, and we've added a lot of trucks on the water side, about a $1.2 million on trucks. We've changed some projects around. We still have Dan on contract. Would you be amenable to that?
Can we put stuff on, or put an item on the agenda going forward about a rate increase so the public starts to see possible
Yeah,
rate
we-
increase?
yeah.
We
We
never
could go
hide
through
it, we
that.
always,
But I don't read it, I mean, there. I would, just glancing at our agenda this morning, I wouldn't see anything baked in.
Oh, no,
No.
yeah, I mean.
And then I
sure.
have questions about tier rates and also, you know, wastewater, how.
That's a different,
Well, it's not different because we overlap and we use trucks for that and things.
hope
you know.
not.
Shouldn't.
No?
No.
Yeah, no, we
We
don't.
Oh,
shouldn't
it'll be a
or
separate
no, it's
fleet?
separate.
Well, as a new
separate fleet.
commissioner, I'm gonna wanna know
Yeah,
things like
no,
that as
yeah.
we go. If I'm gonna vote for a rate increase,
Yeah.
I would wanna know
So-
more than just something baked in.
We're happy to do all of that because we have to, it's part of our mission. But, so I just want to be clear on your ask, Bob. So what you're saying is that you want to see what on the agenda?
Rate increase discussion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because
We
that's
usually
different than
do, and we
budget.
usually hold a public hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But I'd like you to say, if there comes a question, I can say, well, it's been on our agenda for the
Yeah.
past 3 months.
Yeah.
That there's been a discussion, you're welcome to come and ask questions, you know.
we'll be in the
That sort of thing.
newspapers as well, just so you'll know. We'll be in the
I'm getting
newspapers.
used to that, so that's.
Yeah, I know. No, but I mean, we want to be. It's information
Yeah, I
we want to get out, you
I
know.
think in all the years
I
I've
mean,
been here, we've only
All it is,
one person come.
the money we're
Oh,
getting in
yeah,
minus
I
the
know.
expenses. There's
People
really
don't
nothing we can
get
do
that
about it,
concerned,
you know.
believe
It's
it
not.
or not.
We have a certain
They should be if they
reserve
have
we
an
keep
irrigation
to,
system.
that's recommended by enterprise laws and, you know, stuff like that.
I understand budgets, I also understand a little bit of public relations.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
great.
We do publicize it,
Yeah.
very much so.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
No
So,
secrets.
Yeah, because when did we last raise the rates? It was not that
22.
long ago, right?
2022
Was
already.
it that long
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah.
What was that rate increase?
I don't
Wow.
know. I mean, we went up $10 in the
It was the
tier,
base rate. I'd have
and
to
the
go
tiers
back
went up.
and look at the rate history.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
all the years and I just can't think of what the rate increase was.
When we have
You know,
that
2.5
meeting, you'll
years
see
ago.
all
Yeah.
that out. We
Yeah.
don't have it at the
I
top
just
of
thought we
our
weren't gonna
heads.
do it for 5 years, or isn't that what? I
We didn't
thought that's
feel
what
comfortable.
we had discussed, another 5 years. Like the rates that we made then were for a 5-year projection.
I don't think we felt comfortable enough to do that, but we're guessing. We're gonna have all that information in front of us.
Yeah.
I think if you vote the budget today, that you're really voting for the expenses right now.
That's right.
So we can get it in. There's
Yeah.
time to rework the revenues.
That's right.
And if the board isn't feeling favorable of presenting a rate increase, then we'd go to look at the expenses and where we could cut things down.
That's right.
And go to the capital plan to
Right.
see where we might want to push things out.
Mhm.
So there's all those
That's
variables.
what everything we're saying.
And,
What our interest payments are gonna be.
yeah.
What, Dan?
If our interest, what we're gonna be paying, if
Right.
that Route 28 project is going to come in before, are we gonna have to stop paying on that before? Or can we wait another year and see what it's gonna be and get a good idea of what we
You know,
have to do?
since we have a better understanding of our capital needs now, I can't imagine we could wait another year.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah,
I'm against
we
that.
can't get that low, you know, we spent that $1 million last year,
Yeah,
yeah, Alan and I, yeah, you know.
yeah.
But,
I can't even imagine what it will be next year.
Right,
Yeah.
and I was hoping we could pay the other portion of the water tank. The job was 1.4 million. Last year, we took $1 million out of our retained earnings to cut down the interest, the high interest. And I was hoping this year that we could, you know, make it neat and contribute 400,000 from our retained earnings to
Yeah.
finish off that project, but I don't feel high confidence in that anymore,
We need time on that one.
yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I ask a question? So I know we're an enterprise fund, but these large capital expenditures, shouldn't that be not coming just from our revenue budget? but
Just from
shouldn't-
us.
But
Yeah.
shouldn't we consider asking the town for, I just,
I don't see that happening.
but rebuilding an entire infrastructure on our revenue is not,
That's how enterprise funds, I mean, that's what the town voted in,
I know,
yeah.
but we're
And-
aging.
And there's
rapidly.
no grants out there.
The only way that I know of from the classes I took,
I will look in my grant database.
all right,
Yeah.
so the only way I know of is if something disastrous happened, God forbid, I don't even like to say these words, you know, if like Western North Carolina happened or something like that, and we
Oh,
had
God.
water mains, you know, sticking out everywhere. Bottom line, even though we are an enterprise fund, we are a liability of the town, and in that case, they would have to bail us out. That's why when you say we're separate, you know, it's like, how separate are we and stuff like that. But those things only happen in the cases of disaster.
Right.
You know, not in the case of buying a truck or even building a water main. You know, that's part of our business, you know. Unless we want to go back and be part of the town.
$10 on the base,
And
right?
Well, we
Alan will tell you about all the years that our water money went to pay for their things. so.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back there, but I think if we have a large cap, like a new tank, do you know, or the new water main,
Well, you know, you can rethink, re-guess everything,
yeah.
but right now, we've done pretty well. And I expect that we will do well going ahead, just like now. We're having this discussion, you know, about how we're gonna pay off stuff. Well, we've got through a lot of stuff already over the years that we've been able to do, pay for. Sure, we made payments and what have you, and we'll go on the same. The town is there. If we need a big loan, you know, they'll finance something for us and
Okay.
get us through the storm. But
How much does anybody remember how much was the tank on Lothrop? I want to say 6 million, but I don't really know.
it's up there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
paid for
exact
that.
numbers, but, yeah.
I want to say 8.5, but maybe.
What deal? I can't hear
I
you.
want to say 8.5, but maybe I'm
Well, that's it.
remembering
This-
wrong.
This Route 28 is only 10, so
The
not
bargain.
much different. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way we
I
throw
think-
around numbers
I
nowadays.
think it was around 6,
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
And that is with a, and I just want to make sure you know that is with a $10 on the base.
Right,
Okay, so
yeah.
rate
Yeah.
and looking at increasing the rate, okay, that could be, but this would be $10 on
Right.
the base, that's what it would be at.
When we have that discussion,
Right.
yeah. Of course, the other sad thing too is that we weren't accepted as part of the state revolving fund program for the Route 28 project. I mean, that could have saved us millions in interest.
Why
that
weren't
alone.
we accepted? They just-
That particular year, we very often are, but that particular year, the state that we submitted the project, the state was focusing on projects that had PFAS problems,
Oh.
and we did not.
Yeah.
You know, so we're paying, we're not going through SRF, we're paying whatever we get on the market for interest, so.
With
Yeah,
services.
2% is with the last estimate from 2023,
That's
it
not
looked like
bad.
2% from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust.
Yeah.
I'm
Not
not
bad.
sure how that
Yeah.
will work with us, but
Yeah,
so many factors. Dan can be helpful with that backup information too, about the different sources and how they'll act in.
yeah.
Because I really haven't been involved in a project that wasn't through SRF in a lot of years, you know, so it's a new experience.
Do we contact our state reps at all?
We've never done that.
No.
We've
It's
never had it.
history
Well, I
anyway.
mean, when I got that grant for Harwich Center, I was working with both Julian
Yeah.
Sear and Sarah Peak, and they wrote excellent letters and found additional funding. I mean, that is their job.
Yeah, they
This
think
was-
they're good at
Yeah, you can
grants.
contact the state rep.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, I have a
I
good
mean-
relationship with them to say.
They have their offices send me grants.
This was
They do.
voted 2 years ago, so unless, I mean, would that delay the whole project? We have Department of Transportation involved, you know, it's a very complicated, we would have to resubmit, we'd have to shut it down.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about going forward.
Oh, going forward, sure.
Saying, you
Going
know,
forward, yeah.
Yeah.
in light of trying to not do rate increases,
Right.
what's on the table at the state level to help us locally meet some of these mandates like affordable housing, things like that, I still would like the commissioners to look at the governor's signed plan, because I do think it has an impact on us.
There's a lot of
And
money.
that's a big load of money that's out there,
A lot of money.
that's
Climate.
signed, got signed.
Yeah.
And I think that we should network in that, not just stay on our own. I don't know how the town, I leave the town alone, but, you know.
There's a lot of rules.
I know there's a lot of rules, but there's also discussions that could be had that I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
would hurt.
It doesn't cost you anything.
No, it doesn't cost
No.
anything.
No, never has.
Okay, one more question. Under revenue, the solar revenue, I thought that we got in more in 2024 than the 132 that's here. Maybe I was thinking of 2023 with the 361.
I would have to go back and I can go look now.
No,
if you
that's all
want.
right, yeah. But I just,
I'd have to go back to that year to look, because the way I have it listed is that was the actual revenue, 132,000. So
Right.
I could have made a mistake.
no, that's
so I
okay.
think-
It's just that because of the 132,
Yeah,
the 294 that's projected makes me a little nervous. Now, I know they're not following the formula the way it was originally designed, and there's new people, and they don't know how it
Right.
works. So it's kind of like a crapshoot, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna get what we get.
right.
And we've been getting more than we're used to.
Yes.
So I just get a little nervous about going from 208 to 294. So just something we can talk about as we go along, it's not critical.
And if the board is, voting the budgets today, it's more in the area of the expense budgets,
Right,
right?
yeah,
We have time
yeah,
to
yeah.
work through
Oh,
the
we'll vote it
revenue
again, we'll
and
vote today,
fine-tune it.
and we
Okay.
can vote again.
Um,
Okay, so,
Can I ask a question on the solar? Didn't the select board, like, make a ruling of some sort that recalculated that and gave us more? But, I mean, it's
Less.
like
Less.
less, but I thought that they were increasing it after complaints came in.
It was actually, there's a memo that the board agreed to take a lesser percentage than what would have been our percentage from the solar array, because most of the meters was based on our usage, and we're like a high consumer. So the board at the time agreed to take a lesser percentage for a period of time, and that was under the previous administration. And so I think it was like 40% instead of 100, something like that. We're supposed, I forget the percentage combination, but basically the board agreed to take less for a period of time until it could be looked at again. And what happened was, we've had several different finance directors in and out of the role, and their memo disappeared, so they've been giving us our full share. Without us even
Okay.
going back.
All right, we'll take that.
Take your question.
We will take that.
I know. I'm like, no
That's
one's brought it up, I'm not saying anything.
that was my
Sitting
official
on chair.
term, crapshoot.
Okay.
But it's a good crapshoot.
Okay.
So, okay, so I just want, before we talk about a vote, so what's our plan going forward? It's the holiday time and crazy. Would one of you or both contact Dan about starting to get ready on the water rate table? Because he'll need all of these figures.
Yeah.
And also anything from Clean Waters or any place that might be
Yeah.
foreseen, and of course, they'll need the new capital plan stuff. And so maybe by the middle of January, we could start our informal talks on water rates, or certainly by the very beginning of February.
I think we can, I'll contact Dan,
Yeah,
and then Sandy and I will both work
Yeah.
with Dan on creating.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. This'll be, they're always important when it's water rates, but they seem to get harder every time, so.
It's also a time, just another thought, is do we want to look at having another professional rate study done? We haven't done one in 3 or 4 years, and that was the spreadsheet that Dan used, that tie and bond when they did our rate study. they gave us a copy of the spreadsheet. It's very, there's a lot of coding in Excel, and Dan was able to use that moving forward and make presentations. But is it, just
What
a
does that
thought.
cost?
I think it was 10, less than that, maybe, 8 to 10,000.
You know,
Somebody like
Mike Schrader did that. He's,
Yeah,
he's
from Ty and
sort of,
Bond, but just a thought, I mean,
It is a
otherwise,
thought.
we need to probably consider pulling Dan in every time we look to do rate increases, and have him do it if he's interested and has the time, but just thinking too, would it be a good time to do another rate study?
My view on this is that you probably need it, because if you thought we're gonna raise rates for 5 years,
Yeah.
and here it is, just 2 years, what?
3 years.
I never thought, that wasn't a board
Well, I wasn't
consensus.
asking, okay, I wasn't asking you though.
No, but
I'm just
the
saying
5
the
years,
sense
it's not
of
true.
it
Yes.
is, you had a sense that they weren't gonna raise rates for 5 years, okay? So now, a study would show why, or what the other communities are doing, and we all know about inflation that has happened, and everything
Yeah,
else.
and
So
we
I
had some,
I just think we might need as much ammunition as possible to back this up.
I
We've
think
had
if
some
they're-
shifts also in the capital plan a bit, so some things have been shifted. Some of the schedules I have, like the Route 28 project has been delayed a year. So the schedules that we're looking at are from 22 and 23. Pulling in the capital and making sure everything's updated with the changes we've made, which Dan can do as well. I'm not saying that he
Right.
can't do. I don't know his availability, nor do I know Mike Schrader's availability for a rate study.
Dan has availability.
He does, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that, I mean, I
Yeah.
want to hear what people think about Dan versus Ty and Bond.
It
I
was
think
just
for a
another
rate
thought.
study, it might make sense, since Dan is gonna be doing a lot of work on a variety of things, that a rate study from a third party, because I don't think of Dan as a third party, right, because he's our on-call consultant, might
haven't on-
be easier for the public to digest,
comfortable
but
with
maybe,
Dan.
I don't know.
He's
Yeah,
got a
I'm
good
comfortable with Dan.
reputation, knows this district really well and the communities really well. I think it would serve us good. I mean,
Didn't mean
he's-
to throw a monkey wrench in it, just thinking
No.
of the timeline. We're gonna
Exactly.
be into December and into January,
If he's
and
got
before you
time.
know it,
He has
you
time.
know, okay,
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
mean, if
talked
he
to him
accepts the
in a while.
Absolutely.
contract, he has to
Time.
make the time. It is a
Okay.
business thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if he looks at the rates, or we all look at the rates, it's gonna be myself saying, it'll be Dan, we'll be doing a collaborative effort to say, okay, what do we need? How much do we have to raise? And then that will be for the following year. If you plan on doing any rate study after that, it would help us to years to come.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's gonna say, okay, this is what we have in the next 5 years. We just did a capital plan over the next 10 years, so
Right.
we'll be able to look out and see what we have.
I mean, I could go either way on this, but my feeling is that right now, we have the Route 28 water main. We have the Pleasant Lake tank that was substantially paying for ourselves anyway, and we've already put the money aside, so that won't have an effect on anything. But then, for the many years to come, all we really have, we have the new well, but other than that, we have equipment and vehicles. So, I mean, I could go either way, but I'm kind of leaning towards maybe it's better to have Dan clean up this one with all these changes, and have that as a base. And then, in a year or so, maybe that's time to start to talk about a whole new water rate study to look at. Because other than the well, we don't really have any, we're just buying trucks.
And water main replacement.
Well,
Right.
of course, yeah.
And the hydraulic model that's going to be done is gonna take a year to
Yeah.
to be complete, and they will provide, at the end of that, a capital plan for improvements. So maybe that would be,
yeah.
right, that's what you mentioned?
Yeah, so you get the hydraulic
It would
model done,
dovetail into
and then
that.
from there,
Yeah.
you say, okay, we have to look at a capital plan, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, and it's sort of like à la carte.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
that's
all
good.
of these different
So cool.
projects that you have to get done based on your hydraulic model, based on your system. Where do you want to start?
Exactly.
Maybe that would be the time too, that would
That's what I'm
play
kind of
into
Plus-
a
A
rate
rate study.
increase,
Yeah.
rate study.
Yeah.
Whether it's Dan or whether it's Ty and Bond
Right.
or whoever, just getting that thorough
And
rate
full
study
picture.
done.
and I think every town is very different.
Mhm.
So
course.
somebody's rates could be a little bit higher, but that's because they had to put a PFAS treatment in.
Right.
That's because they had to do some other major expenses, new water treatment plant, they had to do different things, so they might be a little bit different than ours. So every town is a little bit with what their projects are and what their needs are, will be a little different.
Sure.
And you can almost, there's a few towns on the Cape that have low water rates, and they're not doing capital improvements.
Yeah.
So it's all relative. We're either taking, improving our infrastructure, which is gonna require funding, or we don't, and you can keep the rates low, so.
Well, we went for years when we didn't do
I know.
infrastructure, so
I
now
know.
we're paying for
Yeah.
it. That's the bottom line, you know.
Yeah, it's a very different water department today
Yeah.
from that time, believe me.
So it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like what I'm hearing is that for this year, we have Dan update the outdated, assuming he says yes and is willing. And should we vote on that, or, I don't think we need to, he's
No, I
a
don't think
consultant and we, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys can check things out with him and let us know where that goes. And he's probably less expensive than Ty and Bond too. We're getting an awful lot of these, every request is like 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. You know,
number.
we're
Yeah.
getting hit. So then at our next meeting or thereafter, we can plan our first real discussions if he gives a timeline on when we can really look at all the data and all the good stuff, Bob.
Good.
Yeah.
Do we
So-
need to move on this then?
What, dear?
Do we need to move on this?
Yes, we need to, Sandy has to turn in the initial budget this Friday. So we would need a motion to approve this budget, understanding that we reapprove it in March before town
Subject-
meeting, so. any
Subject to
changes.
change.
I'll make that motion.
So what's the amount we're putting in? Are we,
I think vote it as presented,
Okay.
because as I enter this in, it goes through some audits.
Yeah.
The treasurer's office audits, salary and wages, so there could be, some little tweaks there. But anything that changes from this, what you have in your packet today, we'll bring forward into a new packet and let you know how it's changed.
gotcha. So did I hear a motion from you,
Yeah,
Bob?
I moved to approve.
Okay, one from Bob.
Se- Second?
A second from Alan, and, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for all your detailed work.
Thank
This
you.
is like,
Yes.
Oh,
I
it's
want
a
you to
lot,
come in
but
and do
I love it.
my
At the
budget.
same time, I do, yeah.
I just need to scribble a couple of notes. Okay. So that is water, now we have wastewater. So this one is kind of simpler. All right, so my first question. Okay, so this goes back to our discussion that we as a board had last March with the selectmen at the budget meeting when that current finance director did not want to track or include the indirects in wastewater. And her reasoning was that, you know, we are given to you and then we're taken back with this hand. But the board at the time, my memory is, felt very strongly that they wanted to see that listed, even though it's a, you know, but I mean, that's the way it is. So that years from now, we would, you know, have an idea and have a record of what was actually used. So with that said, I don't see the 62,148 in either 25 or 26.
That's correct,
So I would ask you why.
because the finance director,
The new one,
this was the previous one,
Kathleen?
Kathleen, said not to do indirects for the sewer wastewater enterprise fund because it should have never been set up as an
know.
enterprise fund.
I wish you would come, you know, maybe this year we have to have you at the budget meeting though.
Okay.
Because she said that, but then we all talked her down. But so what was the budget in the warrant?
I do not believe it included.
I believe it did,
The FY '25 budget?
yeah,
Let me see.
sorry.
Let me look at my budget report, Marty. 62,148 for FY '25.
Yeah,
So that was carried forward.
yeah. And that was-
However,
That was
it
because
looks
this,
like it was charged back, but.
yeah, it was, it goes
Yeah,
back and
Yeah,
forth.
right.
So,
so-
because this board insisted on it, and I
Okay.
am happy for their insistence.
So I'll add that back in,
Right.
just that level, 62,148?
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, dear.
Okay, that's all right.
That's okay, that's why
That's all
we're
right.
4 sets of
No,
eyes.
thank you, yes.
So that's gonna go into the column that has the budget for FY '25, but it's also, we'll carry that exact number, since we don't have a formula. That will go into the column that is request for FY '26, the same number, 62,148, which will make our deficit at the bottom $62,000 more. But
Yeah.
that will go up and down as things go on anyway, so. Well, that was my only question.
The only variable that could change, basically, we've submitted the same wastewater budget from the last meeting. It's the same budget to this
Right.
meeting. So we haven't changed anything. This change that just came up will be made. The other possible change could be to the Chatham intermunicipal agreement. We used the percentages from the previous year that Dan used as estimates to come up with a projection. So we just followed what Dan did. But at some point, we'll want to meet with Chatham's DPW director and, you know, get to a better assumption. We also need their budget figures. So that's where we need Chatham's budget figures and the wastewater treatment plant budget figures so that we can back into our number. Yeah?
Yeah.
And we don't have that information yet.
Yeah.
So that, you know, and we'll bring that back if there's any change that comes about meanwhile.
I'll just make one observation that we talked about real briefly before. In the budget column for FY '25, I think with all the back and forth, the line that says admin fee debt, 26,217, I think that, I don't know if I want to say mistake, but I think if that's in our budget though, that's going to go to our good,
That's right,
yeah.
that's right.
So, you know
Yes.
what I mean, and our
Yep.
total expenses, that gives us a little extra 25,000, which we
Yes.
probably won't
Yep.
need.
Yep.
Anyway, unless, you know, so, all right, we're in agreement there. So, now here's one thing that just comes to mind, because I listen to Bob and he has good ideas, because they're new.
Well, at least it's not California this time.
So we took on the very difficult task in '22 of setting sewer rates with really no data, I mean, we looked at a ton of stuff, but we had no history here, so it was, I wonder if we should revisit that, even if it's only in a look-see way, you know what I mean? Kind of a temperature-taking way. I don't know if Dan could add some, I'm not suggesting we get into a full-blown wastewater rate study, because we still don't even have, we've only got 400 customers, we just don't have enough data. But I wouldn't mind getting a reading, like on how we're doing with it, if you know what I mean.
Update.
Update.
Yeah.
Update, yes, there you go.
Yeah, just kind of a temperature reading.
Right on.
Oh,
I'm with you.
yeah.
Do you mean in respect to, are we charging enough?
Right.
Or, okay.
And we don't really know what is
I
the right
know.
amount, but I
Yeah.
mean, just more of a feeling.
Well,
Are
I mean,
are you gonna project it out with all these phases you've got?
well,
No.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we don't even know what the flows are,
Yeah.
you know?
To answer your question, we don't pay for the phases, the town does.
I understand, but the rates will eventually come down to whatever the phases are and whatever the costs are. I've been in a district before when it was wild meetings over that, and, I'd never felt comfortable with what I was being told, So any information that sort of guesses, I guess, early.
Right.
We
Okay.
did project, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, so phase 3 wouldn't be connecting for at least 3 years, and certainly we would consider them in a look ahead. The phases beyond that, let's take some wild guess and say they go into West Harwich or Harwichport or something like that. I mean, I don't even really see how you could project, because they haven't been designed yet, so they don't know how many customers, how many parcels, what the flows could put. Our look would certainly include phase 3.
The town doesn't have to project this as they build it?
They do it, the town does, not us, we don't pay that.
Sandy does.
I just wanted to add that going back 2, 3, 4 years ago, Dan did project revenues into the future based on how the connections were happening. Whether we're getting 1 a week or 2 a week, we kind of came to, all right, this is how the connections are happening during phase 2, and we could kind of guesstimate where we would be at. Now we're almost in March, it'll be 3 years since the
Right.
order to connect. And I have to look, but we probably have 150 people
150, yeah.
that haven't connected yet. Is that gonna be enforced, or is there gonna be follow-up? That the directive in order to connect is from the Board of Health and the Health Director. So this remaining 150 people, we're not gonna be able to push them to connect. It's really gonna take an effort, I believe, but from the Board of Health
Right.
to, move that to the next level.
I mean, absolutely, and I would see Dan including those 150 people, because we don't control that as being
Right, yeah,
connected.
yeah.
And then 5 years from now, including the 500 people from phase 3.
Yes,
I mean, we
yeah.
have to assume they're
Right,
going to connect.
right.
So, but I think Bob was talking about the further phases out, and we don't even know where they are, or how many people they are.
Can I ask a-
Yeah, and I think this is gonna be ongoing.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be ongoing to adjust, because you have more and more people coming on to the system, and we're gonna have to,
Fluid.
it's all gonna be different. It
Yeah.
could be different a year from now, 3 years from now,
Right.
we get more people on it.
And actually, the more people that connect, all it does is it lowers our deficit. We're being subsidized by the town, so. Hi, Judy.
Hi, at what point are we reaching capacity with Chatham?
We're long ways.
Long ways.
Long ways.
Yes,
Like theoretically, phase 3 would still go to Chatham?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
And more, there's tons more room.
I'm not
And
sure.
Chatham is welcoming that?
Yeah.
They're welcoming what the contract said, which was these 2 phases. Beyond that, we'll see. Then there's that issue of.
Phase 1 and
doesn't-
phase 2, or phase 1, 2, and 3?
Phase 2 and 3.
Two
Phase
and
1
three,
was
okay.
the bridge,
Yeah.
so it didn't come, well, it didn't come for Chatham. And then, of course, there's the new impact, which nobody's given any information out yet about Sand Lakes. In theory, that would go to Chatham also, and there's plenty of room for that. The issue is that that was Phase 8, and now they're calling it Phase 3.A. So, I mean, is that going to go through in May? I don't know, you know. Are they going to have some info sessions on it? I don't know, you know, so. But there is plenty of room, even if it included that.
Good.
And then we'd have to negotiate.
Isn't West Harwich going the other way?
To
We'll
Dennis?
see.
Well, yeah, we'll see, that's
Yeah,
still
I mean,
to
that's,
be determined.
yeah, if we get a good deal to buy in, you
Yeah.
know. Otherwise, we can always build our own on Queen Anne Road, you know, I mean,
I think we want to buy in.
I do too. But if we can buy in a deal like we bought into Chatham, I'm all for it. The other deal personally, where we were part owners, which was the Dennis Harwich Yarmouth one, was not my cup of tea.
Mine either.
Because we were just too low for that. We were only 15% of the project. We got practically no governance, no votes. We were more just handing checks. But if we can buy in to Dennis, that would be wonderful. So we'll see. Hopefully, they'll hire some technical consultant who can work with Dennis on that project.
Since you said that,
Yes.
what I noticed on the water, or the select board's agenda about hiring a water contractor, or project contractor.
Yeah,
Jason, is Jason gonna be involved with, or working with them or not?
well, every department would be involved, that's involved, you know, the health, the DPW, Jason would be one of those. This would be for the CWMP, so the Phase 3 and the going forward. And actually, when they first spoke about that a few weeks ago, they spoke about Dan doing that. He's the person who should be doing that. I mean, it was crystal clear. So I totally didn't understand the conversation last night when they were talking about some person or bids or anything else. I mean, I am just very confused about the direction they took. And for the record, I'll say that if they pass up an opportunity to get Dan back as a technical advisor, I think it'd be a great loss to the town, you know.
I agree.
And I'm just amazed it's back before them again.
Why?
Because, they could have solved problems like this last year and they chose to play games.
Well, what was proved last year was that no one person could do what Jason's doing and what Dan's doing, so they really couldn't have solved it last year. We had to learn the
No, but I think
hard way.
they've also learned that they have to pay for work.
If they've learned that, I'll be thrilled to hear it.
No, I'm serious, I've seen it.
I don't think they really know what to do.
I
Yeah.
agree more with that,
But, you know, there are papers to be pulled in January.
yeah.
Yeah.
And go,
I
are you
mean,
gonna do that?
Let me ask you
Are you
guys,
gonna do that?
I'm getting phone calls from Phase 3. Let me ask you, I've been meaning to ask this. How many calls do you guys still get from Phase 3? I'm getting phone calls at home from Phase 3 people.
Not too many, honestly.
Okay,
I think they're going,
not too
we're
many.
just handling.
Well,
this.
the people that call me are the people who say, I've spoken to this department, they're very nice, I've called town hall 3 million times, nobody calls me back, I've done this, nobody calls me back, and then out of desperation, somebody gives them my name and says, well, this woman used to know some stuff about this, give her a try. And I used to try to resolve people's problems when that happened, but I don't anymore. I tell them to call town hall because,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
It's town
but,
halls.
but if I'm getting calls, how many calls are going to town hall that, if I'm getting a few calls, I wonder how many more.
But that's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
because somewhere along the way, there needs to be a whole picture of what we're doing sewer-wise.
Right,
There's nothing.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
we just keep putting stuff in
That's
the
right.
ground. Who's overseeing it?
exactly, and
I
I'm,
mean, they have not said to us, well, you guys are officially, I haven't been to any meetings where we're officially designated.
no, you're right, you're right,
Amen. You know, there is nobody.
yeah.
So, and until the selectmen wake up and get things in order.
I was kind of hoping, I mean, even so we can learn, since it's our future territory,
Bingo.
that they might have, you know, that fellow Ivan from the GDH in every now and then to the select board meetings to say like, oh, well, we heard from 30 more customers and they're all set, or, you know, just to give that kind of little stuff, and it's like crickets,
You wait till the first backup.
yeah.
What,
Ivan is doing some outreach to people.
Huh?
I am copied on all the emails that's going to Ivan and people that are moving their stub in phase 3, so he is doing the outreach, he is meeting with customers.
So the emails that you're copied on, who sends them?
Ivan, there's a number of people that are on these emails that are going back and forth.
And how do they get to Ivan? They have Ivan's number and they,
I'm assuming that they're calling town hall.
oh. yeah,
Town
I
hall is
understand.
referring them to
Yeah. All right.
GHD with Ivan, and
Yeah.
Ivan's going out there and meeting.
Hey, maybe
with
it's less of a
with-
problem, you know, when you don't know anything, you don't know how big a problem it is.
Yeah.
and we shouldn't ask for a presentation from Ivan? Have him come in here and tell us,
Well, it's-
update us, do we want to know, or do we want to know?
I mean, it's not really our project, but we certainly could have them in for information at some point, but they haven't broken ground yet, so it's a little early. About any time you guys want, we can ask that he come in, but, I mean, he doesn't work for us, it's not our,
But we're good outreach.
Yeah, and how we're
We're
gonna
an
plan
elected board that
long-term.
would be,
I'm sorry?
I think, in the mix.
what did you
I'll
say,
just say
Judy?
how, I don't know, it's long-term planning,
No,
right?
If you wanted an update, or if you wanted to see where phase 3 was and how it was moving along, I could definitely reach out to Jeff and Ivan.
I personally would think it would be helpful.
Yeah.
That's up to the board.
But I still wait to see that there's official declaration that the water department's gonna oversee wastewater.
You just have to understand that it is construction.
Right.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
not in our, they're taking care of that.
And the maintenance side.
That- Yeah.
But we are getting questions about it, so.
no, I said, see, I've been getting questions for 10 years about wastewater, long before I joined this board. So when they're calling me, they're not necessarily calling me as the chair of this board.
But you were on the committee, right?
I was on 5 committees. Alan and I were on many committees together.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. So we, I mean-
It just died when,
right, these guys get questions. That was worked out last spring, that it was worked out between them and town hall. They have a regular method of transferring things back and forth, you know, so.
When Dan left, that's when it
Yeah.
changed, so we
changed, yeah.
stopped.
We fought very
dealing with the
hard to
construction
separate
part.
ourselves.
And it took us a little while, a few months,
I
to kind of
remember that.
re-coordinate, redirect construction type stuff to the town administrator's office. And so we're just dealing with connections, existing customers now.
Yeah.
But yes, it's nice to know what's going on with phase 3, but that's just how it kind of separated with Noreen's statement. What was our,
Our Bible, I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
have a thing from the CWMP. So,
Phase 3, I can do updates for you too.
Okay.
I'm sitting in on all the meetings for
that's
phase
right,
3.
he's there all the time.
Yeah.
oh, that's
That may
good.
be
Good.
better.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm sitting on Monday meetings and every other Friday. Phase 3A and then phase 3, so.
So you don't get a smashing headache.
Yeah, exactly. But we've been fielding some questions down here, and we've been referring them to the town administrator's office, and they're not coming back.
Good, all right.
So that's-
Usually when it stays at the staff level,
that's-
it
it's been very
works
good.
pretty well.
You
As long as the
forwarded me a
big
few
shots
and-
don't get involved,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Yeah.
Tracy's
Yeah.
put a few emails through to me, and I've emailed them back
Okay,
saying, please
it's
contact.
working.
And they have done that, and it has not come back. Ivan has not called me up or anything, so, and I'm on the thread with everybody else that's going on in phase 3. It's just getting them to put the
So-
rocket on the ground.
So what's the mood? Do you want to have Jason add a line to update us at meetings? Do you want, what do people want?
Isn't it just superintendent's report?
Yeah.
I can just put that right in there for phase 3
For now?
update.
And then if we want more details when
Yeah.
they get digging more,
Yeah.
maybe. They're breaking ground on the 16th, so that's for sure. Okay, so we can add that.
We'll leave that one, see it.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, if it's not frozen.
I think you can move to the 17th.
When is Harwich gonna go?
When? I hope not for another 10 years
10
anyway.
years?
They're mobilizing.
Once I'm
16.
gone.
I don't even-
Why didn't they do Harwich Port first?
So we need to vote on the wastewater budget. We can also
Oh, that was
vote at,
regular.
what dear?
That wasn't wastewater.
I said wastewater budget, didn't I?
No, it's,
Yep,
Yeah, that's what you said.
to include, to re-include indirects.
Yeah, as presented, well, with the scribble in it, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, we're gonna have to maybe have you come to the budget day,
that's fine,
yeah.
that's fine.
Especially with all the changes with the
No, you're
finance
right.
directors, because,
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they hire
because this
them?
board was very vocal. Very vocal. So, on the wastewater budget, do I have a motion to approve it as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, Sandy, so you have your budgets to send in our first ones for this year anyway.
To be amended.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
over
there
and
will be
over
several
again.
amendments, honestly,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's just the beginning of,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, the process, really.
that's exactly what it is. So, next item is the insertion valve. Jason, I'm gonna hand that off to you,
I was
baby.
kind of hoping you would.
That was put out to bid for the insertion valve. This is for the Route 28 project, so we can shut that main down and not interrupt as many customers. So we'll be putting those valves in. This is for the equipment and training. When the guys get trained on it, they'll be able to use this equipment, go out there and install these insertion valves before the Route 28 project kicks off. And then as it's installed, as it's pressure tested, chlorinated, we don't have to shut as many customers off when we go to hook onto it.
So it kind of makes it a sectional.
Yeah,
Yeah, got it.
it's a great piece of equipment to have.
Yeah.
I think we're the
I
only,
didn't know it existed.
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of, is it something new that's been?
It's been around for a number of years.
Yeah.
Not a lot of water departments have it.
Yeah, yeah.
I only know of one department that has it. Well, two after I read the references. But,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really a good piece of equipment to have.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
We can use it not just in this project, but also in the town.
yeah, yeah.
So that's gonna be really, really good. It's gonna benefit.
Why aren't we getting it?
When this is approved, signed, it'll
Okay.
take about 4 weeks to get it, and then we're gonna have two classroom sessions. We'll break the guys up, and then we'll also have a field session. And then after that, the rep will be out here for probably the next 10 insertions that we do,
Okay.
just to make sure everything goes smoothly.
What's this date right here, December 3rd, 24? till, are they responsible for Article 2?
Really?
I think they put that data in just as a delivery by
Oh,
a
okay.
period
All right,
two,
so
that we
might-
wanted
that'll
by the
change
end of this
when-
fiscal year, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
and so, yeah, we want to have all the training done. It'll be a good time of the year to have the guys in here doing the training. Then we're going to go out to a couple spots out in the system that need an insertion valve. We've identified, Steve has identified a couple places that would be good to have them. And we're going to do a field class, and we're going to install one with the company.
So this allows you to shut down a smaller section
Yeah.
of the system.
Yeah.
That's great.
Otherwise,
Nice.
you shut
So,
off.
yeah, this is actually installing a valve while the water main is still live.
It's amazing.
Wow.
So if that gives you an idea of what it does. Yeah.
Does it cut into the pipe, into the main?
Cuts
And
it.
that doesn't bother you? I mean, it's a silly question, but it doesn't bother you to cut into the main?
No.
Okay.
No, and then, yeah, although we're gonna put in the bid for the Route 28 project, all of the insertion valves. So, we'll put those all in when it's all done. The new main's live, the other one's retired and shut off. We'll go back and we'll pull out all those valves, and we can reuse those again.
Wow, that's
Wow.
great.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
great.
not one valve, it's a,
Yeah,
Multiple.
we'll probably be putting about eight different valves in Route 28.
but what are we buying? We're buying 8, or we're buying,
We're buying just the machine
Yeah.
that cuts
oh,
them in.
okay, and the valves
I think
we
each
supply.
valve-
I
Each
got
valve
This
is like
is,
8 grand, right?
Yeah, each
Oh,
valve is
that's
about
great.
$1,000 an inch. So if you get
Wow.
a, if you get a 10-inch valve, it's $10,000. That's what they're saying.
Does it work in the winter too?
Yeah.
Cold weather?
Year round,
Yep,
everything.
12 months a year.
If we work, they work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great asset.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, especially in,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't get something turned off, that's your worst
I can
fear.
remember when I
And
was,
especially on Route
when I was
28.
at ours, there was always
Wonderful not to have to shut down the whole
a
stretch.
request,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Can I ask you, is this something that could also be used for wastewater? Or no? Okay.
Near the two meet.
Yeah.
So, I
They
have a couple of
sterilized
questions.
it.
Okay,
Oh,
so, when we had Bob Drake here, you know, in September, well, a year ago, they said the bid for 28 was gonna be last spring of 24. Then in September 4th, the update meeting, they said the bid was gonna be in December of 24. And then when he was here 3 weeks later, he said the bid was gonna be in February of 25. And I said to him, then I said, 3 strikes and you're out, I hope that's the last, push. But I thought I remembered somebody saying something about having the insertion valve first would be helpful before the bid, or was that an unrelated thing that I'm remembering? What was it that you guys said that, well, going from December to February would allow us to have X done, which would make the bid better?
So going from that one date to having it done to start in September would be better because we can have the insertion valves in the springtime.
Right.
Working on Route 28
Right.
before summer.
But I'm talking about the February bid date.
So the February bid date, we'll have the insertion valve. We know we have it. Now we know what
Okay,
product actually we're doing a hydrostop.
Okay,
So we
all
can
right.
order those valves. We can put hydrostop valves in the bid.
yeah.
So we can get those.
All right, it was tied in.
Right.
Okay, so then it sounds like the February bid date is still a good date.
I'll be meeting with Bob tomorrow.
If they move that again, I mean,
Yeah, I'm pushing that.
this is getting to be like the date doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it started off first being in '23, then it moved to spring of '24, then it moved to this reminds me of a previous engineering firm that we had that did not seem to care much about dates, so, well,
It's a
I'll
nice
just
way to put it.
Yeah, I'm meeting with Bob tomorrow, and I'm gonna be,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I'll have some more
it's-
answers.
So it'll be helpful that this is approved for you.
Yeah.
it's critically important to me that the date be kept till February, and I have another thing to talk about related to that later in the commissioner's report. But also, I noticed on the memo that it says that this will be paid for from Route 28 Water Main Project's capital article. And we haven't borrowed any money for that yet, or have we?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm
This
not
is
sure
part of,
either.
this is the principal
Yeah.
and interest that's in question.
Right,
And I
right.
don't think it's been borrowed yet, because
Yeah.
when I ran it by Crystal Legendry, it didn't sound like the borrowing has happened yet.
Then how can we, I mean, we'll sign the contract, but,
Well, they'll, just like I would assume if they've set the article up, that the town would have to fund this until they go out to borrow.
yeah,
That's, in the past, I've learned that the town will fund the
Yeah.
project for
Right,
many
yeah.
months until they decide they're gonna go out and borrow. And we, in the past, have wished they just went out and borrowed the money. So
Yeah.
we end up in this holding pattern while they use general funds. So I'm assuming that's what they will do.
yep,
Yeah,
okay, I'm just
yeah, I know.
thinking about the same thing. So any other questions on the insertion valve equipment system? And if not, I would look for a motion to approve the contract.
I'll move.
A second.
Give me 1 second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Oh, we have progress on an insertion valve. That's pretty darn exciting.
No, it isn't. It's more work.
I always seem to lose my master sheet right when I need it. So the next item is to, something we traditionally do as the commission, which is we approve the time for the department's waterworks, is it, luncheon, just so that they don't have to come back to the building and close up at the very tail end of the day. So, anybody wants to make a motion on that, or?
Make a motion to approve, I don't know how we articulate it.
Staff attendance.
Staff attendance at the Barnstable County Utilities Association Annual Luncheon, Thursday, December 19th.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Do commissioners go to this?
No.
You could, if you remember, we could
Yeah, it's a
make
member of the
members.
group.
It also involves closing the office in the
Oh.
afternoon. So we would close the office at, say, 11:30, from 11:30 to 4 o'clock, or 4:30, and set the voicemail accordingly, our prompts. So any calls in the afternoon, if there wasn't a water emergency, would go directly to the standby person, who will be there with their phone on
Yeah.
standby.
You should close the office at 11, the latest.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
No, I know, so
You
we
have
can get
a-
there. We
a
try to
drive.
stagger, and so we can all get a table, so we can sit together. We don't have many opportunities to all be
Yeah, sure.
together for a function.
so maybe
So
10:30.
this kind of works out well, and the board's been kind enough to give the afternoon for this purpose. And we appreciate it. Thank
Sure.
you.
I guess do good work.
Well, if you decide
And
this
it's a
year's right.
networking opportunity.
It is, yeah.
So I think you should leave it at 10:30, 10:45.
So I was writing something, did we vote?
We voted, well, no, we didn't vote. We had a first and a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll just mention too, I think it's every year, but the select board also just approved those half-days.
Yes.
Yeah, to,
Yeah.
just so we'll know, so this office will be closed New Year's Eve at noon and Christmas Eve at noon,
Yes.
backwards, but, yeah.
We all had to think about that, didn't we?
Yes, I know.
And New Year's Day, is that a regular day, or do you come
It's a
in later?
That's all.
It's
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're getting there. So next would be superintendent's report.
Superintendent's report. Can update you on a few things. The vernal pool
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're monitoring, that conduit's starting to go in this week. We're ordering the transducers, and then we'll have the skater group. They'll come in and they'll start putting all that into the skater and making that report, so we can submit that to DEP. I'm just gonna see what format the DEP wants it in. They're sort of all over the place, so we'll see what they want, and then we'll have the skater people, they'll make that report up every single month, so we'll be able to do that and send that in. Station 10, they got the mod flow model that we've been wanting, and they're working on that, so that's the new well. So GHZ has that, they're gonna be back in touch with me when they have that in place. The hydraulic model, I had talked to somebody, they're gonna come in probably after the holidays, about sharing a little bit of what they do and what the hydraulic model is, so you'll have a very good understanding of what they go about and what they do. And they have our hydraulic model, whether that can be updated or whether, if it's an outdated model, whether we need a new one or whether they can just update the present one would be. I'm hoping that they can update the present one, because that will save us some money.
So they'll come before us?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yep. Yep, I asked them that, just so everybody knows what they're doing, the work that it entails, and yeah, they'll do a presentation for you and say,
Great.
this is what it will look like. Tank painting, I have talked to somebody about that. We're getting the tanks inspected within the next week. When I get that back, I will present that, and we'll have something written up, and we'll start getting that bid put together. The Route 28, I have a meeting again with Bob Drake from GHD tomorrow. I'm asking him to do a few things in the new contract for when he puts the bid out, because we're working on that now, and I think that the borings are all done, they're in. He's putting that bid together to get it out in February. Again, I want the insertion valves in that, and I also want in the bid them to GPS everything. I want all the valves, hydrants, services, I want them GPS so we can put that into our ISRI mapping.
That sounds good.
That's one thing that they haven't really been doing, and I've been wondering about that. So that leads me into the next thing with the GPS unit.
Before? Okay, I have
Go ahead.
questions on the 28. So, we're talking about him getting the bid ready
Mhm.
and working with you on that. But my memory tells me that their previous contract with us did not include bidding, oversight, or planning. So I feel like the cart is getting ahead of the horse on this very big project. It seems to me we should have a contract first, very soon, more likely yesterday, about what is the contract that they are offering us to do the bidding, you know, and I mentioned this at our October meeting, but I'm very uncomfortable about talking about what's gonna go into the bid and what isn't gonna go into the bid when we don't even have them under contract.
Who's them?
Them is GHD, there was a fellow here, Bob, we've had a few different ones, they changed personnel a lot, you know, that's the fellow that I was referring to when I said originally the bid date was last spring, then it was this, then it was this, then it was this, you know, but the thing is, in the contract that we signed as a board with them, it stopped at bidding, and it stopped at project oversight, and it stopped there, so we need to move fast on what their contract is. And part of the reason, a lot of reasons for our concern, but one that I mentioned last October, is into that contract, we can build what we want about public outreach and a whole bunch of other things, you know. They're gonna put in front of us their standard boilerplate contract, and we're gonna say, no, that's not good enough for us. You know, we have funds, we would like, you know, you say you're gonna do one info session, we want 3, you know, whatever. You say you're gonna do 1 flyer, we want 5. You know, I mean, whatever we want for this board to design, that's our opportunity to design it. So I don't want us to stumble into all of a sudden being out to bid and we don't even have a contract. So can you ask Bob tomorrow what's up?
I can do that, and I'll see if he can have something before the next meeting in January.
Okay, and if he does, I mean, it might be time to see his face in January here. You know, because it's you know, because I know, I've just got a feeling it's gonna be a boilerplate contract, and it's not gonna be anything that we want.
Who's the company again?
GHD.
It's the same one that's doing phase 3 and those people.
Isn't this the guy, you questioned him in October, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is the fellow that keeps saying he's new. Can there be anybody newer than Jason? You know, we just, I
And we've
just
been
laugh
waiting
when
on
he
Mass
said-
DOT with the borings, and it's just been, they've been dragging their feet. And-
Yeah, I remember that.
And I know that he's telling me the truth, because I'm getting
Yeah.
emails from Mass DOT sharps to me saying, okay, it's 25%, it's 75%, okay, now we need a check from you for
Right.
$500. So I'm, you know, going back and forth with Bob, going, you need to send him the money now, okay? Let's
Well,
keep this rolling.
I mean-
And so that's one of the things
Right.
is contract, GPS, some different things, but
And-
I will have that.
And also, I'd like them to do an updated timeline, you know, because, you know, let's say the worst happens, and because of delays from DOT or whatever, we can't go out to bid in February. I just would like to know. It's the continuing pushing off of the dates. You know, because if we're not gonna be able to start construction next September, when we hoped we could, I will be disappointed, but at least if we know, then we can plan better for the following spring, you know, but I just hate this constantly being told, you know, don't worry about it. you
And
know,
the price keeps going up.
Yeah, and the price keeps going up substantially.
I will
Okay,
see if he can get a contract together.
yeah,
And also, when that contract is presented, to see if he can give everyone an update here.
right, great.
When our next meeting
Great.
is in January.
And I think that our board will probably have a meeting or two to really go over that contract. You know, most engineering contracts, you know, are kind of beyond our scope, but where this one will involve public outreach on such a public road, I think we're all gonna wanna have a hand in that. So that's where I'm headed, so, thank you. So now you were going into GPS, but that was my note about Bob, so thank you.
So the GPS, I want to have them put that in the contract. I'm going to talk with him about that so we can get everything GPSed. I'm also looking at a mobile GPS that the guys can use here. So when they go out and they can find curb stops, things like that, they'll be able to GPS them right out in the field. So,
Awesome.
Wow.
yeah, so that'll be nice.
Now, this is over my pay grade, but I know that Dan and our interim assessor, Gail McAleer, you know, they did a tremendous job with GPS in the town. I don't know if that works with you, against you, or whatever,
Yeah.
over my pay grade, but,
It will be, some of the things are GPS, some of them are not, but for the guys to be trained and to go out there and be able to do it, the staff. So when Steve has a project and he goes, I need you to go out and find these 1,000 curb stops out there and water services, while they're out there finding those, if they're not GPS, they can GPS them. Any new sewer service that's going in, the clean out that's out in the road, those can be GPSed. So there are things like that, and it just goes right into our mapping system.
Plus it saves labor.
It saves, yeah, and time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we've come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
And everything is going that way, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It
We
really
don't have
is.
to buy as many shovels.
Some of the new
Let's do
excavators,
that
they
one.
actually have GPS on them.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, and as
Yeah.
they dig, it
No.
records.
Oh,
right
it's
where
too
they're
much for
going.
me, I have
It's
to
like-
retire.
Just before I left our, it just started to come up on the excavator.
Well, you know what some of the excavators are doing now? They're dropping them off, and they have somebody controlling them from an office digging everything.
Really?
Oh.
They're
wow.
unmanned,
That's a little scary.
It is,
unmanned, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
It was just like, I
Soon
don't know
enough, he
if you,
does.
I don't know if you've been down by the school and you've seen the lawnmower going back and forth? That's
No.
mowed with nobody on it?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's all new, all the lawnmowers that are out there they're unmanned.
yeah.
They're all by GPS,
Are
they're all
they
by
big
satellite.
lawnmowers, or are they just the
Yeah,
little?
big lawnmowers.
That's
Oh, the-
scary
the
if it's near a
tractors.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it comes up to something, it automatically stops.
Well,
Yeah. So,
one hopes.
It's really neat. The field, the painting, all the lines, all they do is drop a unit off, hit start, fill the paint up and leave.
Oh, that's too
And it
much for
paints
me.
all of the lines. And they are straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing what they can do now.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling.
Oh, because I've seen them.
Yeah.
And when I was driving up to to a meeting and I saw the lawnmower going back and forth, I'm like, oh, look at that. There's nobody on it. There's probably a bird sitting on it or something like that, but yeah.
And no teenagers have tried to jump on it, or, I mean, it's hard to believe.
Not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, when something comes within a radius of it, it automatically shuts off.
Stops.
It will shut off,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be a challenge, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The last thing I have is the Bay Road update.
Okay, you're answering my,
So, Bay Road, we are working, we had a meeting with the Caseys. They have to get a hold of their contractor, or Eastwood, that built the home with Barrows, to try and find the other two cleanouts that are in their yard, so we can go out there and survey those, and just basically connect all the dots, and have a good grade elevation of the service and the main that's in the road. That's where we're at right now. We have some good video of the main, and we are, I do believe GHD will be contacting the contractor that installed the sewer main. So, once that is done, we're gonna go from there. Well, the town will go from there. And I'm part of all of the discussions, and
Right.
so.
well, be interesting to hear what ultimately happens. Will anybody know anything about the other houses on the street as this goes on? If once John stops flushing, those other houses might have a problem?
Not yet.
Okay,
We're not, we don't know that yet.
yeah,
So that's still, we're gonna continue to flush,
Right.
because that seems to alleviate the problem.
right.
And then, once we get a solution, we'll go from there.
So when you think about it, and just in crazy broad numbers, whatever time it takes John to go out there and flush every week, times 4, times 8, times 4 per month, times 8, I mean, we've spent thousands and thousands of dollars
Yeah.
before we've even, you know.
I forget what,
This is the one, Vicksburg and Bay Road, they had a sewer backup.
oh,
They
yeah.
were a
Oh,
phase
right,
2.
right.
Phase
Yeah.
2 customer.
Yeah.
But the question is the problem in the road, is the problem in their private sewer service?
Yeah, yeah.
And so they're still
Yeah.
trying to sort that out. But I was just thinking of, all of that money that we've spent on labor. I mean, we gotta solve the problem. These poor people had backups and, you know, everything else, but of course, you don't wanna just go in and solve the problem because it might not be the town's problem, it might be the installer's problem, so that's the,
Do they still have a septic system they could
No.
hook into?
it was a new home.
That's why,
Oh, brand new, okay,
Yeah.
so
That's
that's why
right, yeah.
that's why they connected it to Bay Road.
Yeah.
They
gotcha,
didn't wanna put a septic in,
got ya,
and they didn't wanna wait for Vicksburg in phase 3 to come up.
gotcha, now I remember.
So they brought it back.
And the builder never did like an initial exploratory? Well,
Oh, you're talking about it's the construction of the sewer lines in the street.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
but
problem
isn't
with
it from the
those.
house to the street?
No, from my understanding,
Oh, it is
I can
the
say,
sewer.
it
Okay.
seems like it's in the street. It's
Okay.
in the main is where it's
It's not
seems
enough
like
gravity.
it's really,
The main.
it's sort of, yeah,
You seeing water in those
yeah,
pictures?
yeah.
Oh,
It's not a
really?
good sign.
In
No,
addition
no,
to,
right, yeah.
and there may be other problems, and on top of the problem, you know, everything rains its pours, so,
It's
Yeah.
almost like the perfect storm,
yeah.
Yeah,
so.
There may be problems in both the street and the property.
Maybe it might make sense to do a temporary septic.
I don't think they'd ever allow that.
Yeah, we have to.
I've heard people mention that, but also, there's 3 or 4 other houses on the street.
That
Not
are new.
really sure if they're affected or not at this point. Because right now, it's being flushed out by John Long, and that's what's keeping everything going. Every single week he's out there, since March.
so there's something that's connected into the water line?
Not water.
It's not flowing.
It's what?
Sewer.
But
Oh,
it's water
it-
going into the sewer line? Like
It's
It's a
rainwater?
It's backing
backflow.
up, which means it's not flowing through.
It's not flowing. It doesn't seem
Oh,
like the
okay.
main is flowing, the
Okay,
pitch on the
I'm
main.
with you.
Yeah.
Oh, the
It's
pit.
strictly
Wrong.
sewer.
Yeah,
No, and
strictly
he
sewer,
said
yeah.
he saw
Yeah,
water.
okay, I'm
I
with
didn't
you.
They were
know.
probably
Yeah.
putting cameras
Yeah.
down there to see if the water was standing, and it's not flowing.
Yeah,
So the gray water's standing, not drink, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It's-
Because we've
it's
all
standing.
heard that word.
Our water is
It's
fine.
standing, in
It was a
it's
what?
standing in the main there.
Yeah.
So the raw
it's-
sewage
yeah.
is standing in
Yeah.
there?
It's standing, it's not
That was
flowing.
the
cross
same.
line, you know?
Exactly, like,
Yeah,
That's a problem.
So from sewer manhole number 1 to sewer
Sewer,
manhole
yeah.
number 2, that's where they're connected, there's standing water there. You go from sewer manhole number 2 to sewer manhole number 3, and it's flowing, there's nothing in the main.
So there's sewage in the pipe
Yeah.
between 1 and 2.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're,
that's- They gotta fix that.
yeah.
yeah.
so just dig up that pipe and
And they
reset it?
Yeah, they,
Something.
yeah, so they're gonna,
Is
I'm
that, is
surprised they're
that,
waiting this long.
is that our department or is that the town hall still, since it's not flowing?
No,
So-
Yeah, that's,
it was thought to be our department, and then, no, it wasn't, it's construction.
It
This
is construction,
this is
Yeah.
okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so,
But, oh my God,
Are we
since
positive? I
March.
mean, I don't know if
I
it's
know,
positive.
you wonder why they didn't
right
just
now,
go get in
yeah.
there and reset it.
It's- it's
You know,
pretty
put another
much
pipe next to it.
did
Yeah.
did Al, did
What's
Al
the-
put that in?
No,
No,
Oh,
RJB.
no.
JV. So they'll have to dig up the road
Oh.
again, open the road, dig up the
Okay.
road.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
heard it. Yeah,
And then we can put
is
a
that the
bill
end of the
in.
line?
That's
too?
the- yeah.
So-
I don't know.
So it can be done, they just.
Because
have
it's
to
our
raise it up
customer anyway.
And hoping
you know,
that they
I don't
dove
know.
in.
We'll fix
The
them
laterals.
first, then we'll have that
I think they're
discussion
gonna have to raise
with the
whole
town.
At the very least, they should put in a septic
Manhole.
system
Right,
for these
but I mean-
They
people.
won't, once your sewer's available,
How
they
far
won't
does
let
the?
you do.
No, no, no,
the other
I
people,
mean, the company that
the
needs to dig up
Casey's,
everything, because
the
I
lines
imagine that's gonna be
doesn't come
quite
straight in, It's
costly.
got a little, then a
Why not just
45
put in a
you know.
$20,000
Right.
septic
it
system?
sounds like it's a dead end.
Because they wouldn't get the permits and we're flushing it.
Yeah, as long as, we kind of, for John out there every week, he kind of is the septic system right now. And see, it's not ju, it might be other houses as well,
Oh, that's not the only house into that section?
right?
There's
It's
3
like
other houses.
4 houses.
Oh, I
So
thought,
if
I thought they
John
were
would-
waiting to come on into
Yeah,
that
no,
section.
if John were
Oh.
to stop flushing, would those other houses have a problem?
Probably, right?
You know, so,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't wanna know though. You know?
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, that was a lot of information, thank you.
Yeah,
Commissioners report, Alan,
I'm good.
okay,
I got enough to think about.
all right. Judith?
Happy and safe holidays to everybody.
Aw,
Thank you, you too.
You
wow.
too.
Nothing.
Also.
Well, I have a couple of little things. I just wanted to say, but I'll stop and see Sandy on the way out. You know, we talked about that salary study for the superintendent's position, and the person doing it kind of got behind, so just to let you know, I'm gonna prod them to finish up, because it'd be nice for the board to put a cover letter with it, look it over and get it uptown, so they have it whenever they're gonna do, whatever. Also, it's time for us to do our town report, our joint one. And so Jason and I just got our notices, he got his and I got mine. And so we'll be, and I think it's due like the second week in January or thereabouts, so we'll be putting that, a draft in front of the board sometime soon, to get that ready to go uptown. I just wanted to mention, Jason, that at the last 2 years, when that was given out to us, we mentioned that it was really time, if you look at the last year's report, which is on the website, there's no mention of wastewater. There's absolutely no mention of I think Alan wrote it, there's no mention of wastewater. But we had said last year that it's time. We should put in, and I'm going to suggest that it doesn't have to be long, you know, just a paragraph or so. But it seems to me, every place I go now, the questions that people always want to know is, how many people are connected? How many people are left to connect? So it'd be a nice way to have that in every year, you know, if we said, well, you know, in phase 2, there were 500 total houses, 350 are connected, 150 left to go. And then maybe even give a little projection about phase 3, which won't be for 5 years. That's gonna have, I don't remember off the top of my head, but like 500 parcels, just so people start to get a drift, and to describe the areas. You know, I don't think we need to go into much more detail than that, you know, but just to, unless anybody else wants to write a nice epistle about wastewater, but I'm not seeing anything, so.
It's kind of a limited thing.
Yeah. About the gray portion of our study. And other than doing some planning, that's it. I will mention that I did get those cards, and Jason and I will be giving out the holiday cards for the employees. So, at no hurry, but if anybody ever wants to reimburse me,
Yep.
that would be 48, but no hurry, really. So now we have to look at next meetings. So if we were to look at 2 weeks from now, that would be the week when Jason is away. We're finally letting him out of the building for a few days.
Can we go to January?
Well, we could, but we have just finished, with Tracy's help, there are 14 sets of executive session minutes we have to approve. There's a lot of work. So I'm kind of thinking, unless people have a problem, that we should probably meet on the 17th and get all that work done.
Amen.
Yeah, and just so you'll know what I must have, because half of them are before Bob and half of them are after, is so I must have 3 members of the older board, or it's no point in meeting. So
I'm here.
We don't have,
I'm here. The old board.
that's right, you are the old board.
what's the date, sorry?
Well, I'm looking 2 weeks from today, so that would be the 17th at 9 o'clock.
I'm good.
You're
You
good.
know me. I'll adapt.
And we want you for the other half, though, just letting you know.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so what we'll do for that one is, we might have executive session only, But we can wait till the week before and decide in case there's something else that has to be signed or anything
Yeah, why
else.
would you do that?
Huh?
Have a regular meeting.
Okay, yeah,
That'll be it for the month of December.
that's right. A regular meeting with,
Open meeting.
with the executive session for
Yeah.
the executive session minutes. Okay,
Take care of business.
sounds good.
All right, clean up.
Otherwise, we would have to have had a really long meeting in January, and we aren't gonna watch that, because the minutes should take about
You
40.
available?
Yeah, Tracy will join us. It's gonna be a lot of signing. Bring your wrists.
Cool.
So, all right, so people are fairly cool with that?
And that's the 10th,
17th
17th?
at 9 o'clock. And if you can't make it, just let me know. We just want to get these signed, and I'll make sure that I have 3 of the old at least, including me, and I just saw 2 hands go up, so that's that. Now I'm wondering though, if we should look ahead, since then is the holidays, and kind of tentatively plan our next one. Obviously, we're not meeting on New Year's Eve, which would be 2 weeks later. So I'm thinking maybe we tentatively plan for the 7th of January
Yeah.
as a pencil in. Yep,
Sure.
at 9 o'clock, trying to get back on our,
Does that work, Jason?
I'm good.
yep.
That works for me.
So that's a tentative, January 7th at 9 a.m. So we just start to get used to, because I think it's going to be a busy winter and spring between Route 28, water rates, updating a bunch of other stuff. It'll be a
Okay.
busy time, but at least we'll have cleaned up all old business from last year.
Amen.
That will be a nice feeling.
And that's at 9, right?
Okay. So can we adjourn? I've got to get going.
Yep, so
I'll
if
move.
somebody, all right.
So these
Second.
Friday meetings, I should take off my calendar, right?
Yes, yeah, that was a bad idea of mine. So, yeah, and so we're adjourned, so I'll either see you on the 17th or Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.